Dave Grohl's lifestyle is completely different than the typical rock star. However, even the humble drummer couldn't help but get himself involved in a few spicy controversies and scandals. His life completely changed when he was 13 years old. His cousin introduced him to punk rock by taking him to shows by a variety of punk bands. His first concert was Naked Ray Gun at the Cubby Bear in Chicago in 1982. It was off to the races from there. In fact, just a year later, he would pen a letter to his favorite musician and punk icon, Ian MacKaye. During high school, he managed to play pieces of songs by punk bands like the Circle Jerks and Bad Brains over the school intercom before his morning announcements. Now that sounds like that one scene from Shawshank Redemption. Though he had rock aspirations from a young age, he wound up in the rock industry before even getting into the music business. Quite literally. He worked manual labor at a nursery in Virginia where he had to physically break rocks all day. Though he was playing drums at the time, he didn't think that it could be a career. At one point I thought, I know how to play drums, I'll learn to read music, become a session drummer, and from that money I'll put myself back through school. Thankfully, Grohl committed to music. He gained notoriety through his work with legendary bands like Nirvana and the Foo Fighters. In August 2009, Grohl was given the key to the city of Warren, Ohio, his birthplace. His hometown also unveiled gigantic 902-pound drumsticks in 2012 to honor him. Now, Grohl isn't one of those self-destructive types of rock stars. No, instead, he has used his fame to better the lives of so many other people, including tackling some very hot-button issues. He isn't afraid to stand up for what he believes in. He has worn a white knot ribbon, a symbol of support for same-sex marriage, to various events. He believes in love and equality, including marriage equality. His activism dates back to the early 1990s, when Nirvana performed at a benefit to raise money to fight Oregon ballot Measure 9. Grohl has also participated in 2 counter-protests against the Westboro Baptist Church for their anti-gay stance, once by performing Keep It Clean on the back of a flatbed truck, and most recently by rickrolling them. He is also an advocate for gun control. Shortly after the 2002 DC sniper attacks ended, he stated in an interview that the attacks were an indication of the direction the country's heading because of the current gun laws. He has also spoken out against drug use. In a 2008 interview, Grohl said he had never taken cocaine, heroin, or speed, and that he had stopped smoking cannabis and taking LSD at the age of 20. I've seen people die. It ain't easy being young, but that stuff doesn't make it any easier. He even contributed to a 2009 anti-drug video for the BBC. And judging by how he spends his fortune, Grohl might be the smartest guy in the music business. A horrible childhood incident shaped his thoughts about money. When asked what he does with all of his cash, Grohl said, "It goes straight into my bank account, where it turns all moldy and smelly." Even when Nirvana hit it big and Grohl got his first credit card, he stayed frugal. That viewpoint carries over into his personal life as well. He drives a family car, not a monster SUV, but a family car that fits 5 people. However, he did allow himself to splurge once when he bought what he calls the most impractical and stupidest thing, a $140,000 Tesla. Now, the reason why he is careful with his money is because of what happened to his mom. At a young age, his mother, who worked as a public school teacher, suffered a stroke while filing her taxes. He wanted to steer clear of financial headaches, and the best way to do that is to not spend your earnings recklessly. But he did spend some cash on his house. Still, if you came across Dave Grohl's home today, you'd probably be surprised. Though it is a fairly large home, it certainly does not compare to celebrity mansions in Beverly Hills. There are no guards, gates, or high fences. In fact, there's a little sign out front that simply says, "The Grohls." It's even more surprising that he has such a simple family home in the Los Angeles area because he used to hate the place. He doesn't technically live in Los Angeles, but Encino, about 15 miles away from the city. Still, he didn't think much of the suburb either. He used to describe Encino as a town where porn stars become grocery clerks and rock stars come to die. Clearly, he changed his tune because Grohl hasn't gone anywhere to die. He has a small studio in his home and owns a larger studio about 10 minutes away. Although he might come off as a clean-cut guy, he does have a few skeletons in his closet. His scandals almost broke up his band. Grohl has been happily married since 2003 and has 3 daughters. However, his romantic life hasn't always been so rosy. He was in a high-profile alternative rock royalty relationship in 1998 with Louise Post of Veruca Salt, but he ended up dumping her in the worst way possible. He called her over the phone and told her they were done because he simply wanted to hook up with Winona Ryder. Now that's pretty bad. Now those bad romances came in the wake of Grohl's first marriage, which ended in divorce in 1997. Grohl acknowledges that his split with his first wife, Jennifer Youngblood, was because of his own infidelities. This almost broke up the Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters guitarist Pat Smear is very good friends with Youngblood. When the divorce happened, he sided with Youngblood and even left the Foo Fighters for a few years. He later returned because, well, music wins out overall. But some scandals got even uglier. After the death of Kurt Cobain and the end of Nirvana, there was no love lost between Grohl and Cobain's widow, Courtney Love. For 20 years, Grohl and Love took turns leveling shots at each other in public. Love also once claimed that Grohl tried to romance her child, Frances Bean Cobain. Grohl didn't even dignify that one with a response. Now, the fighting extended to the courtroom. In 2001, Love sued Grohl over Nirvana song rights. Another suit in 2002 involved Love unsuccessfully trying to block the release of an old unfinished Nirvana track called You Know You're Right. Legal matters were later settled, and the two have become somewhat friendlier toward each other. They even embraced when Nirvana was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014. What got them talking again was simply the softening and wisdom that comes with age. When he isn't making Grammy-winning music, he's extending a helping hand to others, including a couple of trapped miners. He went out of his way to help those in need in Tasmania. In 2006, the Beaconsfield mine collapsed in Tasmania. This caused 2 miners to be trapped underground. Rescue teams were able to pass down food and objects of comfort through a narrow hole to the 2 men. One of them, Brant Webb, requested an iPod loaded up with the Foo Fighters album In Your Honor. Grohl heard about this and actually penned a note that was read to the miners later on. It read, "My heart is with you both, and I want you to know that when you come home, there's 2 tickets to any Foo show anywhere and 2 cold beers waiting for you. Deal?" Well, this already happy story has a very happy ending. In October 2007, the Foo Fighters capped a concert at the Sydney Opera House in Australia with backstage beers with Webb and his wife. Grohl had another gift for the miners. He wrote them an instrumental piece called Ballad of the Beaconsfield Miners, and it appeared on the Foo Fighters album Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace. I mean, come on, how awesome is that? You wouldn't expect a guy with a ludicrous net worth to be so humble. No way he can spend all of his money in a single lifetime. Dave Grohl's net worth comes from decades in the music biz. The Foo Fighters' first 7 studio albums all went platinum. 5 of their albums reached the Billboard 200, and he has won 15 Grammys thanks to his work. During his time in Nirvana, Grohl was the driving force behind the biggest band in the world, and their follow-up album, In Utero, would be the last before Kurt Cobain's untimely passing. Now, exact figures are unknown, but Nirvana's short time together was lucrative, and the band still generates millions from merch sales to this very day. Nirvana and the Foo Fighters have made Grohl a very rich man. In fact, his net worth is believed to be around the $300 million mark.